Greetings and salutations, YouTubers and malefactors. We're back here at Stop Logic Motorsports, and well, we're gonna do a little commute to work. But the biggest part of today is we're seeing how close in quality can we get the Ghost XL Pro to a GoPro Hero 7 Black, or really any GoPro minus probably the 10 for that matter. A few things to bear in mind. First video I did, I discovered that in some resolutions, and this is a problem with the software, is that the camera automatically turns off its anti-shake. That's a nice feature. And also, there are some resolutions and frames per second that the anti-shake refuses to work. Or, if it does work, it cuts your field of vision down to 115 degrees. Well, I've discovered, and this may or may not be a problem, that your full 140 degree of vision for 1080p is 24 frames a second. And that just doesn't quite cut the mustard for me. 60 frames per second ensures a smooth video. So I fiddled around the settings and kept on fiddling and figured out that 720 and 60 frames per second will work with the anti-shake, supposedly, and give you a 140 degree field of vision. So I have the Ghost mounted in my normal GoPro position. Everything's up and running. Got the microphone on, and we're filming 720, 60 frames per second. So your next question will be, well, if you're 720, that's a whole lot of upscaling you have to do a 4K video. Well, yeah, actually, that is kind of the case. But in this video, we're going to touch on that.
I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad you came along.
So we're getting to the part of the video where I decided that possibly my writing commentary didn't really do this camera justice. I'll touch on it later in the video, but I discovered a few surprises about the Ghost XL that, well, prompted me to promptly return it on Amazon. I'm not trying to dog anyone that's bought this camera or bought into the hype. It has some nice features like the built-in microphone. It has decent video, but it has a lot of oddities and eccentricities that drove me away from this camera. So, first and foremost, it'll randomly put you in whatever setting it feels like going into. And a lot of the settings, it'll say that it has anti-shake on, but it doesn't actually have anti-shake on like you saw with the previous clip. I set it up 720p, 60 frames per second, anti-shake was on, whole 9 yards, get the footage back, and it looks like it looks like a bumble ball. If you were a kid of the 90s, it's a stupid little plastic ball with the little knobs on it, and you turn it on, it just bumbles all over the place. That's what the footage looks like. It was completely frustrating to me. The other frustrating part was discovering that my ride to work, the footage had turned automatically into 1080p 60 frames per second with 115 degree field of view. I tried shooting in 1080p 24 frames per second to get the full 140, but the anti-shake, still saying it was on, wasn't actually on. You can see where at some point I'm starting to develop a little bit of frustration with this product, because it seems like the settings are more of like a suggestion than more so a actual setting that you can set it to. And maybe I should have been patient and waited for Ghost to come up with a firmware update for it. But I just really didn't have the desire or time to deal with that. and I already have a functional GoPro product. I'm hopefully going to find a slightly better product other than a GoPro to try, and maybe I can, find that magic device I'm looking for. But unfortunately, the Ghost XL Pro, not really that device I'm looking for. So we'll cut back into part of the video where I find the nasty surprise, and then we'll do some final thoughts here in a second.
Greetings and salutations, YouTubers and malefactors. We are back. Oh, boy, this little thing has a couple of interesting idiosyncrasies that I've been learning to deal with. So this morning I had set everything up, taking all this time to set it up for 720p, 60 frames per second, anti-shake, whole 9 yards. Well, I noticed there's another little funny thing about its software. When you press record, it redefaults to 60 FPS, 1080p, 115 degrees instead of 140 degrees of view. So this is another thing that Drift, you should consider updating about your firmware. Hint, hint. It's kind of really aggravating, actually. So, according to the camera now, assuming there's no other surprises, we are shooting 140 degree field of view, anti-shake, 720p, 60 frames per second. So if there's any other changes, or this thing switches back, I'm gonna lose my dang mind. I reckon we're going to try and do some of the footage and see how this all turns out. But I'm just really floored by how difficult this thing is to actually get to hold settings. Oh man, my hose just went behind my back. Gotta be kidding me here. Need more water. I'm a growing boy. Well, at least horizontally. Part of a balanced breakfast. Oh, goodness. That is a long line of cars behind me. But guys, the WR250R lacks power. I think that was a pretty nice 0 to 70 in a headwind.
So anywho, who is this camera for? I think this camera would be a really good camera if it's absolutely mission critical that you need 3 hours of uninterrupted footage, not the 7 that they claim in the first video. We touched on that. But 3 hours of footage is incredible for any action camera. It's be very good if you're wanting to record races, if you want to do kind of like a lower quality shots, or if you do a lot of street motovlogging and you can stand the reduced amount of field of vision. The built-in microphone on this camera is a standout feature of it. The fact that it's waterproof, the fact that it doesn't overheat. There's a lot of pluses to the camera, but just the software issues, and for me, it just didn't quite give me what I needed out of a camera. I would say if you have $280 to burn, it's not a terrible investment, but I think there's better products out there that do the job for a little less money, or even older model GoPros. This product has the potential to be really good if they can up the field of vision, if they can make the shake control actually intuitive and work on a vast array of settings, and if they can get it to where it doesn't just randomly change settings on you. They fix those issues. This is definitely a GoPro contender, but as it stands right now, it's just a GoPro pretender. So I can't really give it my wholehearted endorsement, and I know my take on things sometimes drives folks a little crazy, but this has already been sent, boxed back up in my rice cooker box, and sent back to Amazon, and hopefully I'll get my refund on it soon. But, I don't know. Keep an eye on Drift Innovations. I think that they're onto something, seeing how drastically this camera has improved over their old models. I think they're probably on the cusp of coming up with a amazing action cam, but this one just isn't quite it. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the content, like and subscribe. If you didn't enjoy the content, feel free to verbally abuse me. I also take payment in attaboys. And if you're a representative or manufacturer or anything, well, feel free to also beat me about the Head and Shoulders region in the comments. In the meantime, have a good one.